If you're ready to tour the teleology of tarot, then you are in the right place. In this video, I will be going through the Hebrew letters and their relative concepts for the Thoth Tarot deck. As with all occult sciences and works, the path is far and wide and quite a wormhole. This is just the beginning. Let's begin. The Fool is the Hebrew letter Aleph. Now, Crowley attributes Aleph to the idea of a plowshare, which is a device in agriculture, and he connects it to phallic symbolism, as is his style. But more deeply, we look at the Aleph and we notice it almost looks like an equal-armed cross that's spinning. Now this is important because the Fool in the Thoth deck expresses something coming out of nothingness through a spiral force. Now when we arrive at the Universe card, we're going to notice a similar symbol, an equal-armed cross, but it is stilled. The equal-armed cross still represents the universe in full HD rendering, full completion, ready to be reabsorbed, and the Fool with the spinning equal-armed cross in the Aleph represents the universe coming into being. Let's move on. The Magus is the Hebrew letter Bet. Bet is the first letter of the Torah in the word Bereshit in the beginning. Bet is connected to the idea of the Word of God. The Word of God, the Logos, the very intention of the universe, which is symbolized here by the Greco-Egyptian Mercury and Hermes and Thoth. The Priestess is the Hebrew letter Gimel. Gimel means camel, and the camel is a metaphor for traveling across the abyss. There's a place on the Tree of Life in an occultist path and development where you cross something called the abyss, which is symbolized by a desert. This is the threshold of self and non-self, the final ego death before you are absorbed into the one consciousness. And it is symbolized by a desert, and the priestess represents that very threshold. We see the camel under here. The camel going through the desert, which is the abyss, to cross into the world of the ideal as opposed to the world of the actual, which is right now, this very moment. But of course, you may come to realize that they aren't mutually exclusive. The Empress is connected with the Hebrew letter Dalet. Dalet means door, and just like the Empress is the cosmic mother, the door is the door to life and the door to death. The very door into this incarnation is Dalet. The Emperor is connected to the Hebrew letter Zadi, and I'm not going to go into this video about why the Emperor is not connected to Hay like in pre-Crowley tarot decks. That's a whole nother video, but for right now, just know it's Zadi. Zadi means fishhook and symbolizes mankind's interception of nature. Zadi, as Crowley says, is etymologically connected to words like Tsar and Caesar, words of rulership. The Hierophant is connected with the Hebrew letter Vav. Vav is the third letter of the Tetragrammaton, so it's a very important card, but also means nail. What does a nail do? A nail brings things together. The Hierophant brings together the spirit world and the material world. The image here is in fact the dawning of the new Aeon. Isis and Osiris ushering in Horus to take place as ruler. The Lover's card is Zion. Zion means sword, and a sword separates. This card actually shows and illustrates the engine of creation, which is division, and teaches that the universe creates through desire by separating itself to further experience itself in more units of consciousness to ultimately create more information and more experience. The Chariot is connected to the Hebrew letter Ket. Ket means fence, and a fence is an enclosure. The Chariot illustrates the idea of authority under authority, parts of ourselves, our personality serving our higher self. And so we have ideas of encapsulation, the shells within shells that we are, our energy body within a larger energy body, within our higher self, etc. It's Russian dolls all the way down. The Adjustment card is the Hebrew letter Lamed. Lamed means ox goad, and an ox goad is something that directs oxen in agriculture. So we have a little secret relationship here with the Fool card, but I'm not going to get into that. For right now, just know the general idea of the ox goad is direction, action, and reaction, and setting a course. This is the general idea, the Newtonian universe of the Adjustment card and the Libra. The Hermit card is connected to the Hebrew letter Yod. Now the Yod means hand, and so we have a hand issuing light. The Yod is also the source code, the source design of the entire Hebrew alphabet, and so the Hermit himself is an image of God, the creator of the tarot, the creator of the universe. The Hermit is also carbon and the secret seed of all nature and perfect design. Fortune is connected to the Hebrew letter Kaf. Kaf means fist, closing hand, or palm of the hand, or hand in the act of grasping, according to Crowley. This suggests the idea of attachment, grasping, which is appropriate to the card Fortune. The Lust card is connected to the Hebrew letter Teth. Teth means serpent, and this card alludes to the serpent power or Kundalini energy. We have serpents above the card that are creating and destroying the world, and that alludes to the path of this card on the Tree of Life, which is path 19. The Hanged Man is connected to the Hebrew letter Mem. Mem is a mother letter, meaning it was one of the original OG letters before the creation of the rest of the alphabet. Mem is the mother letter of water, and so we have ideas of baptism, surrender. Crowley wasn't a huge fan of the Hanged Man, being that this is the mother letter of water and we are in the Aeon of Horus, which is an Aeon of fire. This card doesn't really get along, according to Crowley, with what's going on in the current time. The Death card is connected to the Hebrew letter Nun. Nun means fish, and fish is a symbol of dying gods like Jesus Christ and Osiris. In fact, the last piece of Osiris's body that Isis had to find to put him back together was found in a fish. Can you guess what body part that was? Art is Samek, and Samek means tent peg or prop or post, anything that keeps something up. And art is all about bringing two forces together to create something more. So the idea of a tent peg or a prop is it's going against gravity in one direction, having the resistance of the ground to create something bigger, which is the nature of alchemy and art. This is also a very important card because it is the spine of the Tree of Life, and so has an appropriate connection to tent peg. The Devil is connected to the Hebrew letter Ayin. Ayin means eye, and eye is a symbol of all the senses and all sense attraction. When you pull this card, you may want to ask, where is your attention going? What are you really looking at? What's got your eye? Very appropriate for the Devil. The Tower is the Hebrew letter Pe, which means mouth, and from the mouth comes the engine of all false science and true science, language. And the Tower shows us a form of awakening where this falsity dies. And so we have the idea of the mouth as being the creator and destroyer of these false virtual realities that we project on the one true consciousness. The Star is connected with the Hebrew letter He. He is the second and fourth letter of the Tetragrammaton and also the feminine letters of that name of God. And so it makes sense that they are connected with the star, which illustrates Nuit, Our Lady of the Stars, the infinite space, the infinite Ein Sof, the infinite loving and feminine energy from which we all come, and through which we can see through our window. He means window, where we let the light in. What light? The milk of the stars. The moon is connected to the Hebrew letter Kof. Kof means back of the head. The back of the head is the oldest part of our brains according to evolution. It is our reptilian brain, and according to Crowley, it's the only part of the brain that stays awake when we are sleeping, which is a very specific mystery associated with this card, sleep. This card is one of the unconscious and the mysterious archetypes that underlie our waking thoughts. The sun is connected to the Hebrew letter Resh. Resh means face or head. This suggests the front of the head as opposed to the moon, which is the back of the head. Resh is our consciousness, and in the sun card, we have the opportunity to be completely free. Complete life, light, and liberation, and complete self-sovereignty, owning the powers of our consciousness. This card expresses Heru Raha in his dual form. That is a Crowley original, circa 1904. The Aeon card is connected with the Hebrew letter Shin, which is the mother letter of fire. This is our final mother letter, and this will be joining Aleph, which is the mother letter of air, and Mem, which is the mother letter of water. Shin means tooth, and the idea here is teeth break things up. It is the first phase of metabolism, and in the Aeon card we are going through a sort of spiritual metabolism where we are breaking down old forms and absorbing its energy into higher forms. Now, this card shows a whole thelemic tea party with our three favorite guests, Hadit Nuit and Rahor Kuit. If you want more on that, you can research Aleister Crowley in the Book of the Law. The universe is connected with the Hebrew letter Tav. Tav means signature, and it's almost as if the creator that created the world and secretly painted the tarot is signing their name at the very end of the wonderful work of art. The entire alchemical process, really. The original way to write Tav was an equal-armed cross. And like I said in the Fool card, the Aleph, which is spinning, now becomes still in the full final rendering of the universe. This moment. If you would like further distractions down the teleology of tarot, follow, share, subscribe, do all those things, and most importantly, contemplate, cognize, and comment your thoughts below. Much love.